Hey people, today we are going to solve one of the most annoying things faced in Excel environment, that is handling humongous file sizes. My personal experience, I have handled a file wherein the size was more than 400 MB. Was From that experience I'm making this video. So let's jump into the system and I'll show you. Let's take this particular file as an example. This file is little over 85 MB, right? It's less than 85 MB of size, and it's saved with an extension of .xlsx. It's like a default format wherein the Excel sheet is saved, right? So let's get inside this file and see what is inside this file first to determine. Yeah. So this is the file. In this file, what we have is a database wherein I am storing project ID, project name, and all those things. And the total number of rows is somewhere close to 3 lakh rows, and the column it is stretching up to BU. Right. So I have made out some pivots out of this particular base data, wherein I think I made 5 pivots out of this. Right. So here I am seeing one, 2, 3, 4, and the next is 5. Right? Yeah. So this thing is fifth here. Okay. So as a first step, what I'm going to do is just change the extension. Right? So it's in the extension of, as you can see here, .xlsx. I'm just going to change the extension to binary workbook format. Right? So let's see what it does to Excel. Let's check what the file says. Right? So from 85 MB of files is the files, because of the extension changes, it got reduced to 13.3 MB. So it's like more than half is getting reduced because of this particular change. And let's look deeper into this file, right? So if we can reduce the file size still further, it will be beneficial to us and it will be easier for us to work with the file, right? So we'll see what else can be done here. Let's see here. So here when we create a pivot, it always takes in a default settings, right? So there is one more option here. If you can see here, pivot table options. You just have to right click in the pivot table and you get this particular tab. So here we have to select data, and if you can see here, there is a checkbox, tick mark in the checkbox for save source data with file. What it does is it saves the data. If I am creating 5 pivot tables, it's creating five. It's duplicating all those databases 5 times. Right? So we do not want that, right? So I'm just leaving that option out, and I'm just clicking OK. Okay, so all the pivot tables, this option will get reflected, right? So if you can see, once I am done, here also, if you can see, this option is removed. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to save this particular file and check what the file size is. Right? So from 13 MB file size, it got reduced to somewhere close to 9.5 MB, right? So if you can see here, it's close to 9.7 MB. It got reduced from 13.5 to 9.3. And with these two options, we can reduce the size of the file considerably. But there is one more problem with the Excel file, right? So if you can see here, everything, all these pivots are linked to the table, not a table ranges, but a normal range. We don't have a table format or nothing like that, right? So if I put any VLOOKUP across here or do any operations between these two of the columns, right? So it's going to take a lot of time to process. So to avoid this, what we can do is we can just make this as a table. Okay, let me do it and show you. I'm making this particular thing as a table, right? And I'm naming this table one. So table one, I can say that okay. DAT is a data. Okay. Now I have to just go to the pivot tables and I have to change the source, right? So the source is coming from A to BU. It doesn't specify what is the number of rows and columns and all. It's just specifying blankly all the rows and columns, right, required. I'm just changing it to DAT. Okay? So I'm naming the range and I'm changing it, right? So this will not reduce the file size considerably, but what it will do is it will ease out the processing time. Let's see. So we want to do it. Just saving this particular data set. With this step, we will not able to see considerable reduction in the size of the Excel file, but what we can see is that the file will be furthermore faster when we perform any operations in this file now. It will be faster. See, if you can see here, the file size still remains the same. 9.7 MB is the same as before. But if you do any operations, it will be much more quicker. Right? So, if I want to do, let's say, yeah, cost minus revenue. Let's see the value. I have not copy pasted it anything. So the one advantage of the table is that if I type the formula in first